everybody, and welcome to the weekly Scopes from the 23rd of March until the 29th of March. Hi everybody, and welcome to this week's weekly Scopes. If you've heard this before, you can skip, but this is just the intro on how I formulate these astrology weekly readings. I use astrology and my intuition to give you advice how you can practically use the knowledge of the stars and the planets and apply them to your life. So my weekly Scopes are all based on GMT time and on Vedic Constellational Astrology. So now I'm just going to explain what Vedic Constellational Astrology is and how it differs from Western astrology. So the precession of the equinox is sort of like something that happens in astronomy and astrology, where the Earth's axis undergoes a slow circular motion over 26,000 years, and basically this means that this motion causes a shift in the position of the equinoxes, and also the calculation Vedic and Western astrologies use. So around 2,000 years ago, the tropical and sidereal Vedic astrology signs of astrology were aligned in the same position. So if the sun was in Scorpio in Vedic astrology, it was also in the constellation of Scorpio in Western astrology. But because of the precession of the equinoxes, this has caused a gradual westward sort of like drift of the tropical Western signs. So basically these signs and the Western signs shift 1 degree with every 72 years. So as a result of this ongoing shift, when Western astrology says the sun is in the constellation of Pisces, it's typically in the constellation of Aquarius. Still, this is because the degree, orb and the date for Western and Vedic astrology are 24 degrees, 24 days apart. So in Western astrology, the sun enters the constellation of Pisces around the 19th of February each year, but actually the sun doesn't arrive into the constellation of Pisces until the 13th to the 15th of March each year, and Vedic astrology takes this into account because it's based on the fixed star positions, and Vedic astrologers use sidereal calculations. So as a result, Vedic astrology takes into account the actual positions of the constellations in the sky at any given time, and also considers the precession of the equinox, adjusting for the shift in the position of the equinoxes over time. But in terms of Western astrology follows the tropical zodiac, which is based on the seasons rather than fixed star positions. Western astrologers also do not directly account for the precession of the equinox in their calculations as well, so this results in slightly different calculations and interpretations that are given whether we're using Western astrology or Vedic astrology. So yeah, as I said, Western astrology uses specific dates, so every year, regardless of where the sun actually is at the sky, the sun moves into Pisces around the 19th of February. So yeah, this discrepancy, this misalignment between the tropical zodiac and the actual positions of the constellations has led to a discrepancy between Vedic astrology and Western astrology. So I consider the actual where the sun and the moon are and where Mars and Venus are at any given time, and this is how I formulate these sort of like weekly scopes. So yeah, thanks for listening to this, and let's dive into this week's weekly scope. Okay, so now I'm just going to explain what parallels and contra parallels are in astrology, because I use them in my chart interpretation. So declination in astrology is the measure of how far a celestial body is, such as the sun, whether it's either north or south of the celestial equator. And the celestial equator is an imaginary line in the sky above the Earth's equator, which us astrologers use in our interpretation. So parallels happen when two planets are on the same declination, either both planets are on the north side side, or either both planets are on the south side, and this alignment increases the influence of the involved planets. So it's similar to a conjunction aspect, as it amplifies their energy, making the effects of the planets more pronounced. Contraparallels, on the other hand, happen when two planets are on the same declination, but one is in the north and one is in the south. So this alignment creates tension, which is similar to an opposition aspect, and it can lead to conflict, challenges and inner struggles between the energies of the planets involved. So contraparallels highlight areas of friction or contrast in our lives, urging us to find balance between the opposing forces at play. When transiting parallels and contraparallels happen, they can sort of like trigger significant events, shifting consciousness and periods of intense growth and transformation. So I look at these aspects closely during chart analysis to understand how planetary energies interact and influence each other during a specific time frame, to pinpoint key periods for personal development, relationship dynamics or career shifts and other shifts like karmic shifts and stuff like that. Because I just find using contraparallels and parallels gives me more depth in interpretation, so I use them. So contraparallels and parallels in astrology serve as markers for potential challenges or breakthroughs, guiding us towards more self-awareness, love, acceptance, understanding, forgiveness for ourselves and others, and shifts in consciousness and growth. So overall, just a shift in our mindset if we allow for it. So parallels and contraparallels just kind of like provide valuable insights into the complexities and nuances of the astrological interactions between planetary movements. So yeah, that's the end of what contraparallels and parallels are. So we've got a few aspects governing us this week. So the first is the Sun's contrapart to the Moon's North Node. The Moon's North Node is in Pisces and so is the Sun. This entered on the 17th of March, is exact on the 23rd of March and leaves us on the 28th of March. So contraparallel works the same as opposition. It just means that the Sun and the Moon's North Node are on the opposite ends of the atmosphere. It's the same with the other contraparallels. I will mention the other two aspects this week are contraparallels. The next one is the Sun, contraparallel to Neptune. This entered on the 18th of March, is exact on the 23rd of March and leaves us on the 28th of March, and Neptune's in Pisces. Mercury makes a contraparallel to Saturn. This entered on the 19th of March, is exact on the 25th of March and leaves us on the 29th of March, and Saturn is in Aquarius and Mercury is in Pisces. So the Sun's contraparallel to the Moon's North Node brings positively a motivator, a catalyst for personal transformation and self-discovery this week. It illuminates our core identity, and the North Node symbolises our life purpose and the path forward. So it encourages us to align our actions with our deeper goals and aspirations. It's an excellent time and energy to tap into our intuition and creativity, and helps us develop a sense of connection to our spiritual self. However, we may also face difficulties reconciling, merging, bringing together our internal conflicts this week and our doubts about our direction, what ways should we go, what things should we do, So the nature of a contraparallel highlights the contrasting desires of our values, and this can lead to feelings of confusion or tension. Psychologically, this transit asks us to reflect on what truly matters to us, and this reveals deeper motivations and desires that have been obscured. And as the energies of Pisces encourage our self-reflection, we may find ourselves, wanting to relax, drawn to more reflective, contemplative practices that make it easier for us to experience emotional release and insight. Spiritually, it wants us to surrender to the flow of life this week and trust in our soul's journey and the higher power and our higher self and ourselves, to love on ourselves, to be with ourselves, to flow with ourselves. It's a time to totally own and vibe with and be open to the unknown and allow our intuitions to guide us. And it invites us to explore our psychic abilities and dream work, as Pisces is linked to the subconscious, and by spending time in these practices we can illuminate our path and deepen our spiritual understanding and connection to the universe around us. And during the sun's control to Neptune in Pisces, we can, it adds to the mix of inspiration and illusion. Again, it supports us with our imagination, creativity this week, and gaining those spiritual or emotional insights or psychological insights into our psyche, into our minds, into our healing needs, and it just allows us to perceive, look at the world and ourselves with more compassion and empathy. And it wants us to work with being creative, to deepen our connection to our emotions, our intuition, and to do things that promote mindfulness and meditation this week. But negatively, it can add to the confusion and disillusionment, as Neptune energies always can blur the boundaries and lead to us escaping, into our toxic relationships, Netflix and chilling in excess, excessive drug and alcohol and eating, doing things that are excessive and harm us in the long run. And we can just find it challenging to differentiate, to tell the difference between our dreams and reality, and this can just make us feel vulnerable and disappointed. Psychologically, this energy helps us to look into the depths of our subconscious, and it sheds lights on our hidden desires and our sort of it wants us to confront aspects of ourselves that we've been ignoring, and it offers us a chance for healing and release. Spiritually and esoterically, it resonates with the themes of unity, mysticism and transcendence, going above, and it pushes us to be open to a more open view of existence. And it's a perfect time and energy to use to grow and to connect with nature and to spend time on creative expression and participate in community service to empower our sense of belonging and purpose, and to balance our dreams with practical efforts at this time is essential. So yes, dream, but make sure you take the practical steps to bring them into reality. And we just need to watch out for succumbing, giving into traps of disillusionment and obstacles. Obstacles are things for us to overcome, and I know sometimes certain obstacles we cannot overcome. We may live in countries that prevent us from being who we truly are and stuff like that. So it's about, sometimes the only place we can be free is our mind, and it's about allowing our mind to be free and removing all the barriers such as unresolved psychological and spiritual and emotional trauma that gets in the way of us being free in our minds. Mercury's contra to Saturn brings that discipline to our communication, and it brings a serious tone to it as well, and it emphasizes the need for clarity and focus. Positively, it upgrades and improves our ability to express complex, challenging ideas, and it allows for productive discussions centered around responsibilities and our long-term goals. But negatively, we can just feel mentally restricted or frustrated, because external circumstances can make us feel like that, and our creativity may feel stifled and get in way of our ideas that want us to be free and be more imaginative and intuitive. But the Saturn energy brings skepticism from ourselves or to other people. So it's essential to balance this inclination towards critical thinking with an openness to being intuitive and working with that, right brain creativity and self-love and acceptance, Psychologically, it motivates us to confront the boundaries that we have set for our own thoughts or communications, inviting us to look into the depth of our understanding and the structure and routines of our beliefs. Are they really your beliefs or beliefs you have been told to believe in? Spiritually, it wants us to self-reflect and merge with the rational, with the transcendental, with the intuitive, be open to loving on ourselves and to forgiving ourselves and others, and finding a balance between our inner wisdom and external expectations. And it can be challenging to reconcile, bring together our desires for freedom and structure and routine, and using this time for mindful reflection and disciplined intellectual pursuits can lead to seriously intense next level deep insight. So be open to the deep and intense, and balance it with the creativity and chill down relaxation. And also just have caution as well this week, think about what you're doing with your time and what you're allowing to live within you and in your life as well. Content creators can use this energy to talk about how we can get more in touch with our destiny, our higher purpose and our higher selves, how we can identify and pursue, go after our true calling, how we can embrace change instead of fearing it, giving tips and techniques on how to do that. And talking about intuition, how it can play a role in decision making, and consider discussing the challenges overcoming obstacles that get in the way of our personal development, and how we can develop resilience during transformative periods, that grit, that self-love and determination and focus that's needed through life, because life will always life. And you can share stories of people who have successfully navigated obstacles in their paths, Also, you can talk about how we can work more with our imagination and intuition, and discuss techniques for tapping into our creative potential while maintaining that important balance between dreams and reality, how we can use our artistic expression to find out what we feel, and how creativity can make us understand ourselves and others. Also giving tips on meditation and mindfulness, and how we can look after our emotional well-being, and how visual and auditory experiences like listening to music and viewing art, creating art, can really improve our well-being as well, and how we can bring more structure and routine into our life, and talking about how necessary discipline and structure are in expressing our thoughts, setting boundaries, and the value of constructive criticism, and talking about negative criticism and constructive criticism, the differences between them, and how they're valued not only in the creative process but helping us navigate life, So on the 23rd of March, the Sun makes a contra-parallel to the Moon's North Node, Venus makes a quintile to Jupiter, the Sun makes a conjunction to Venus, the Sun makes a quintile to Jupiter, which is nice and subtle energy, and the Sun's contra-parallel to Neptune is exact at 1:48 p.m, and the Sun sextile to Pluto is exact at 7:32. So Venus's quintile to Jupiter happens when Venus is in Pisces and Jupiter's in Taurus. The Sun's conjunction to Venus happens when they're both in Pisces. The Sun's quintile to Jupiter happens when Jupiter's in Taurus, and the Sun sextile to Pluto happens when Pluto's in Capricorn. So Jupiter's quintile to Venus helps us upgrade and improve our relationships, and we can be drawn to new experiences and new ways of being in our current experiences, and our social connections, interactions can be ignited with passion, and we can just open up our horizons. The Sun's conjunction to Venus intensifies our energy, allowing us to express our affection and appreciation appreciate others and ourselves more openly. It's a great energy to look into our personal aesthetics, our appearance, and invest in something that brings us joy and brings beauty into our life. The Sun's quintile to Jupiter allows us to take bold steps towards our goals and helps us to develop optimism that can inspire us to go after new ventures with enthusiasm and exuberance, And the sunset star to Pluto allows us to be open to transformation, but it can also add to power struggles, even though it's a stretch set style, It invites us to confront and transcend our personal limitations, and it helps us with our self-reflection and embracing change as well as building that inner strength and resilience. That's the calling of this week, and it wants us to totally own our transformative opportunities that come our way this week with confidence. On the 24th of March, the moon enters void of course. The moon enters Capricorn at 4:55, and the sun makes a conjunction to Mercury while they're both in Pisces. So the moon in Capricorn brings that nice grounding energy that allows us to make decisions. It also shapes our emotional experiences and brings and supports us, giving us extra discipline and responsibility this week, allowing us to take personal accountability. We can be more focused on our goals, and this increases our ability to manage our time and resources effectively. The moon in Capricorn encourages practical thinking, so it's a great energy to set long-term objectives and spend time on tasks that require perseverance. You can feel a sense of accomplishment as we tackle challenges head on, and the grounding energy of Capricorn can help us develop a more serious approach to personal and professional matters, and it can be beneficial for those looking to solidify their foundations, whether it's in our career or relationship, as it develops a sense of stability and commitment. But it can make us more pessimistic in our thinking, and it can be more challenging with this energy over the next few days to express our feelings openly, because it creates a sense of emotional detachment, leading to some of us prioritising our work and responsibilities over personal connections and intimacy. And this can lead to feelings of isolation or loneliness, or it may be a good thing for some of you, but as long as if you are in a relationship, you let your lover know that you're having some time out, also be good. People can be susceptible to self-doubt or critical thoughts as well, and this can amplify feelings of inadequacy when goals are not met. The best use of this energy is to strike a balance between ambition and emotional well-being, and spend time on activities that promote self-care and connection with loved ones, as well as working on your goals, so doing both at the same time and making room for love and work. The sun's conjunction to Mercury supports us being mentally clear and accurate, and upgrades and improves our communication skills. It's a powerful time for expressing our thoughts and ideas with clarity and conviction, and it just makes discussions more particular, fruitful, and just allowing us to be more productive. And we can just find that insights come more easily under this influence, and this allows us to express our visions more effectively. And it's a great energy to use for intellectual research, discussion, studying and writing, and it just allows us to mix today's energies, our emotional creativity with our intellectual expression, and it just allows us to have innovative ideas and meaningful connections and conversations. On the 25th of March, Mercury makes its exact contrary to Saturn at 3:39. The moon enters void of course at 6:01, and Mercury makes a set star to Pluto. This happens when Mercury's in Pisces and Pluto's in Capricorn. So Mercury set star to Pluto upgrades and improves our ability to look deep into complex, challenging subjects, and it allows for serious, intense, next level, deep insights and transformative conversations. So this is really good energy supporting this week's main energies. It's a great energy to use for research, analysis and mental work that requires intense focus. So if you had things you've been putting off, this transit encourages you to confront underlying issues and to restart the things you need to, and to start procrastinating. It wants us to focus on our personal or professional relationship. empowers us to communicate our feelings and findings with clarity and impact. And as we engage with our deeper thoughts and feelings, we can discover new perspectives, and that can lead to significant personal growth. And this increased intuition can make it easier for us to understand the motivations and desires of those around us. And as we increase our awareness, it can help us develop connections with others, and discussions that we have now, chats with others and with ourselves, can lead to enlightening revelations, secrets being revealed. But negatively, because we're dealing with Pluto here, we can be excessive, jealous in our thinking, or power struggles in conversations can come up. So it's better to channel this energy into constructive, positive chatter, banter, and the best use of this energy is to navigate it with skill and awareness, knowing when to walk away and to pick your battles wisely, So on the 26th of March, the Moon enters its balsamic moon phase, Mercury makes a quintile to Jupiter, the Moon enters Aquarius, and Mars makes a square to Chiron. So Mercury's quintile to Jupiter happens when Mercury is in Pisces and Jupiter is in Taurus, and the Mars's square to Chiron happens when Mars is in Gemini and Chiron's in Pisces. So the balsamic moon helps us to have closure and to let go, and helps us with our self-reflection and releasing any lingering emotional baggage and setting intention for the upcoming new moon. And it just encourages a sense of completion, wholeness within ourselves, and to let go of what no longer serves us. The best use of this energy is to journal or meditate. Mercury's quintile to Jupiter allows us and adds to the creativity and optimism of this week. It allows us to brainstorm and to have discussions that inspire growth and be open to innovative ideas. Positively, it encourages us to share our ideas freely, to seek new opportunities for collaboration, working with others and learning. The Moon in Aquarius wants us to focus on social connections, community involvement and unconventional thinking, but Mars is square to Chiron can bring underlying wounds to the surface, which is what this week wants us to do. And this energy is supporting and motivating us to confront our vulnerabilities. While it may feel uncomfortable, acknowledging these issues can lead to significant healing. The best approach during this transit is to channel any frustration into constructive action, allowing for personal growth and resilience. And as we navigate the complex challenges, hurdles of our emotional and physical experiences, just be open to self-love and care, On the 27th of March, Venus makes a conjunction to Neptune, where Venus and Neptune are both in Pisces. So this supports us with being more sensitive. It can inspire us to, work with our dreams and visions, but it adds to the unrealistic expectations and also ignoring red flags. But it supports us being creative and being open to new paths of inspiration and setting new goals. But we just have to remember to maintain a balance between our dreams and reality, ensuring that we nurture healthy relationships while staying grounded in honesty and understanding. Spending time in meditation or reflective practices can help us use the positive energies of this transit effectively, On the 28th of March, the Sun makes its exact parallel to Mercury. The Moon void, of course, starts. The Moon also enters Pisces, and the Moon's North Node also goes stationary direct. So the Sun's parallel to Mercury entered on the 25th of March, and that's just into the 30th of March, and the Sun's in Pisces and Mercury's in Pisces as well. The Moon in Pisces allows us to find the emotional depth and creativity this week wants us to find. Increases our intuition and empathy and sensitivity. We can connect more with our inner selves and the world around us, so it makes it great for our imagination. It increases our emotional awareness, and we can just develop more compassion and understanding in our relationships. So it's a great time for healing and forgiveness, self-forgiveness and forgiveness of others. But negatively, it adds to the confusion of this week because we can feel overwhelmed by our emotions and want to escape into intoxicating substances or relationships to distract ourselves, right? So we must do our best to stay grounded and practice healthy self-care, you know, and because this increased sensitivity can lead to emotional turmoil, chaos, you know, so we want to prevent that. We want to do all we can to stay relaxed. The moon's north node going retrograde adds to this emotional intensity, but helps us to reflect on our life purpose and path and the lessons that we learned so far. It wants us to reassess our goals and supports us in doing that and getting a deeper understanding of what truly resonates with us, what we really want out of life, and it supports us with letting go of what no longer serves our highest good. So looking at our self-destructive habits, thought and relationship patterns and through to letting them go. But because it can make us feel uncertain as we grapple with the need and struggle with the need for change versus our comfort zone, right? Because we all love it and we don't want to get out of it because it's what we know. The best use of this energy is to engage in thoughtful self-reflection, making space for new insights while being open to change that comes with your personal growth journey. And by embracing this introspective energy, this can lead to some seriously intense next level deep realizations and a clearer sense of direction moving forward. So on the 29th of March there's a new moon, super moon, solar eclipse, and I've done a separate audio about this. It happens in Pisces, so yeah, and Saturn also enters Pisces today as well. So the super solar eclipse in Pisces is a time of transformation and new beginnings. Eclipses bring about significant changes, lighting up, illuminating hidden truths and making it easier, facilitating a deeper understanding of our emotions and spiritual selves. It invites us to tap into our intuition and compassion. So new moon's all about setting intentions, aligning with our dreams and goals and aspirations, making it a great time for manifesting desires relating to art, spirituality and emotional healing, which is supporting this week's energies. But we just need to once again watch out for the confusion and escapism and overly idealistic thinking this energy brings. So it's essential to balance the ethereal qualities of Pisces with the grounding practices to ensure that intentions that you set during this time are both realistic and attainable, you know. And how do we know our goals are attainable? Well, we take small daily steps to get there, right? Saturn in Pisces puts the focus on discipline, responsibility and boundaries, encourages us to take our dreams seriously and work diligently, carefully towards manifesting them into reality. It's a time to establish practical frameworks for our creative spiritual projects, but Saturn's influence can also create tension as it may force people to confront their fears, limitations or the harsh truths underlying our dreams. The duality of this transit means that while we are feeling inspired to go after our passions, we must also face the necessity of hard work and realistic planning. The best use of this energy is to set clear, achievable goals that align with our emotional and spiritual aspirations while remaining open to the transformative processes that both the eclipse and Saturn's entry into Pisces can bring, you know. And by balancing dreaminess with practicality, this will allow for serious next level deep growth and fulfillment happiness during this astrological period, you know. So Saturn's going to stay in Pisces for a while. So yeah, that's the end of the weekly scopes from the 23rd of March until the 29th of March. Take care and see you next week.